Good evening. Welcome, everyone. I'm Suli from Focus on the Family Malaysia, and I'll be your host tonight. Whether you're watching from your couch after a long day or sneaking this in between homework help and wrangling bedtime, we are so glad you're here. Before we dive in, let's get a quick sense of who's joining us tonight. We have a quick poll here. The first question we're going to ask our audience here is how confident do you feel about AI right now? All right. So A, I use it often. B, I'm still learning. C, my kids know more. D, AI worries me. Okay. If you can drop your answer in the chat, you can type in A, B, C, or D. I think people are slowly streaming in. If you, yeah, just go ahead and put it in the chat, whether you use it often or not. I'll share that for me, it's probably A and D. I use it quite often, yes, at work. But it also worries me when I see my kids using it. Yeah, I see some A. I think people in the workplace use it quite often. Yeah, later we'll find out whether your kids use it often or not. Yeah, lots of A's here. Thank you so much. You can continue typing it in the chat. Wherever you end up on the poll, I think tonight's topic is going to resonate with you. Just this past weekend, I went to watch Toy Story 5 with my 4 kids, and it got me thinking. I won't give away too much because if you've seen the trailer, you know that it centers around a smart device that's taken over children's lives, leaving the toys feeling rather threatened and obsolete. But here's what I loved. The movie doesn't end with the toys destroying the device, but it ends with them working together for the good of the child that they love. And I thought that's exactly the conversation we need to have today. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your answers. I see B's and D's, lots of A's and D's for sure. And a C as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think tonight's conversation, we know that AI is not going anywhere. Yeah, from ChatGPT helping with essays to chatbots becoming late night confidants for our children, or artificial intelligence is no longer a distant or futuristic thing. It's in our homes, in our children's hands, and it's shaping how they learn, think, and even how they relate to the world around them. But tonight, we're not here to be fearful. We are here to understand and also to figure out how we as parents can work with AI rather than against it so that it serves our children well. And we want you to walk away tonight with practical, hopeful steps that you can take. So, to help us navigate this topic, I'm so pleased to introduce our 2 guests tonight, one who understands the heart and the mind of our children, and one who understands the technology itself. First up, we have Cheng Yi, a child and educational psychologist who works with neurodiverse children and families right here in Malaysia. She sees firsthand how young people are using AI, and she'll be sharing with us the cognitive and the social impacts it's having on our children's development. So, welcome to our chat tonight, Cheng Yi.
Hi.
So glad to have you.
Yeah.
And joining her, we have Samuel Yau. He's an AI expert and trainer whose own children attend a school that integrates AI into their everyday learning. Samuel will help us understand what's really happening inside the black box and how we can teach our children to use AI wisely without compromising their creativity, their curiosity, or their connection with us. Hello, Samuel.
Hi. Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Yeah, so
Sam.
glad to have both of you here with us. A quick note before we begin our questions, we'll have a live Q&A session at the end of tonight's session. So if you have a question that comes to mind at any point during the time that we have here, just drop it in the chat and we'll get to as many questions as we can at the end. Okay, so let's get started. Samuel, let's make sure that we're all on the same page here. Can you explain to us what AI is and how are we already interacting with it today?
Right. Now, good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm glad that you are able to join us this evening. For those who are tuning in later, watching it, hi to you as well. All right. So, jumping into the question directly, right? What is AI? So, I'll take out the first part. I think AI, by definition, or artificial intelligence, by definition, has evolved as new technology enables better capabilities. So, the definition itself has changed. But in broad terms, I would say AI is basically a computer system that can do things that normally require human intelligence. So it's not just about thinking, but also doing this. Like, I'm sure you come across articles like in China, they have AI robots that can do laundry and chores right now. So
Yes.
AI is it's something like that. But AI, I think it's very broad. It's very big. It's been around for a long time. But I think for most parents, um, it's not AI in general, but I think it's more on the generative AI part where it's a part of AI that generates things like text, images, music, like the music that we heard earlier, right? Our videos and codes as well, right? So I think that's the part that most parents are worried about. Now, on the second part of the question, where we are already interacting with it today, um, I guess it's everywhere. I mean, right now, half of the new content that's on the internet are AI generated, right? But taking a step back, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, you're swiping up and down. AI is already there.
Yeah.
Some are in the content itself, but even the algorithm behind it's already AI enabled. Google search. Every time you Google search, you see the first thing, right? AI overview. So it's already there. When you go to work, Waze, it's AI enabled. Uh, what else? Chatbots, right? Even the chatbots that you talk to, sometimes you don't even know if you're talking to a real person or not. I mean, it's there. So I think AI is everywhere right now, whether we realize it or not.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really woven into so much of our daily life, right? And sometimes we don't even realize that it's actually AI. So thanks, Samuel. Cheng Yi, you work very closely with families and children. So, from your experience, how is AI already shaping the children that you meet emotionally or socially?
Yeah, I think AI is really shaping our children in ways that may be very subtle, but I think we can really see it adding on to the changes that um, even from the introduction of smartphones and digital technology, how they're making friends, how they're spending their time, and learning in school. I really think we should learn from the experiences that we have seen after allowing our children, freedom on screens and seeing the catastrophic effects. Now, other countries are dialing back and putting limits on social media use. So I think we should also learn a lesson from that as we even talk about AI is moving on in that technology, isn't it? So on
Mm,
the one hand, I see like with my neurodiverse clients, I see an equalizing effect, like having equity in education because of certain tools that allow them to be more engaging and make learning easier.
mm,
Also gives a bit more agency and control to the children, so they can learn even in the absence of an adult. So it becomes like a teacher aid that can improve their participants, so improving their confidence as well. But we know on the flip side, right, we're becoming increasingly self-taught. And I
mm,
think what I want to highlight about AI is that it's given us a lot of shortcuts and conveniences that we really like. So I think the risk there is that for children who perhaps are younger, who cannot tell what is factually, morally, ethically true,
mm,
when they're not checking facts or having dialogues with other people, hearing different viewpoints, right? What I fear there is that it may be feeding their egos, flaming their own ideas, and getting them more self centered.
mm,
So I think we all know that the research on generative AI platforms really like to tell you what you want to hear because it's designed to make it maximize user satisfaction.
mm,
Not really real world experience where, when we tell people our views, we worried about what they're going to say, what they are going to push back, how they're going to differ from us. But it is this social standing that we have each other. It really depends on our ability to navigate those differences. And so I think AI threatens our social dependency from that way,
mm,
uh, and possibly from the social emotional perspective, having easy convenience way of doing things, make other things that are only come from hard work, like doing things over and over again, like developing handwriting and reading skills. Those are the things that we don't like so much, or doing mathematics for that matter. and that kind of emotional skills from persevering, right?
Mm.
Yeah, and not taking the shortcuts, and just taking somebody views and making our own. You get that from spending too much time in AI. And
Mm.
my kids do tell me as well that they even do, my kids as in my clients, use AI to even solve math problems, math homework. Yeah. So I think that's the danger there, I think, in using AI.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So it's clear that, I mean, AI is not just changing what our children learn, but it's changing also how they grow, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, it can be exciting, but it's also sobering. I mean, it's good to hear that your neurodiverse children find a lot of help using AI. Um, I recently read an article where a journalist who was traveling around Paris, she asked her AI glasses the height of the Eiffel Tower twice, and both times it gave her different answers. And as a parent, it's quite unsettling how convincing AI can sound, even when it's not always accurate. So, Samuel, can you explain why that happens and what does that mean for how our children should be using AI?
Right, right. Yeah. So earlier, I mean, as the poll was being read, I was looking through a lot of you said A, right? I use AI quite often. Now, if you remember back in the day, 2022, 2023, ChatGPT, when it was launched, it seems like every time you type something, you get back an answer. Half of it were answers that didn't make sense, but it sounded really right, be very convincingly right and all right. So that's the term what they call hallucination. So to understand or to rather answer this question, I think it's good to understand how that technology works since I wear the AI trainer hat. So what's happening is, so generative AI or large language models, so LLM in short, is what tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini are built on. And LLMs are basically tools that has been a model that has been trained on vast amount of articles, websites, books, text and all, which makes them able to learn how words and phrases relate to one another to create like human-like text, translate language, or even write computer code and all. But at its core, what this LLM does, which is powering your ChatGPT and all, are basically statistically calculating the most likely next word in a sequence based on the prompt that you provide. So you ask for
Mm.
something, it will basically predict it. It's almost like autocomplete. When you write something, before you complete it, it sort of guess what your
Mm.
intentions are and all, which leads to hallucination, which is basically information that is made up. So in the past, like in 2022 and all, 40 to 50% of the answers were actually made up because the AI doesn't really understand what it is. What it's actually doing is just predicting. And
Mm.
since then and now, it is still happening. All right. So why does it happen, and what does it mean for our children, right? So most of these tools, the danger is it doesn't have like a truth alarm. It doesn't know whether it's real or not, right? It
Mm.
just sort of like guess very confidently. It's a really smart, really powerful autocomplete lah, in other words, right? So if one analogy would be, for example, a student who's sitting for an exam, right? You do not know what the answer is. So instead of leaving it blank, you simply guess, right? Just simply guessing, your chance of getting a point or something, it's better than nothing. All right.
Mm.
So LLM is sort of that. I mean, if I do not know it, instead of giving you nothing, I'll make something up, right? So that's what the LLM is doing. It's predicting something, but because it sounds so convincingly good, that's where it can endanger children. Because for children, I would say it's very confusing between machine fluency, right? That sounds like really smart, very polite, and very confident, versus true authority. So it's, I would say that that would be a very big danger if the children won't be able to distinguish what is real and
Mm.
fact and what is being made up.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, and I think later on you will kind of address, how do we know then, like, the right questions to ask our kids,
Yeah.
can you tell between fact and fiction, right? So, yeah, thanks. That's very helpful to hear and understand. Okay. after hearing from our speakers, I'd like to ask the audience another question. If you can answer in the chat, how involved are you in your child's AI use? A, very involved. B, somewhat involved. C, not very involved. D, you're not sure what they're doing on their devices. Okay. So if you can answer quickly, A, B, C, or D, are you involved? Or do you just kind of give your kids a free hand on using their devices? Okay. If you can, I don't know if the answers are quick here. Yeah, for me, I think with my 4 kids, I have kids aged between 6 and 12. I would say that I'm not very involved. My kids use AI quite a bit with the Google, hey Google, hey Google. And I think it worries me sometimes that, my kids, they ask AI for jokes rather than ask mommy. So I don't think they think I'm very funny. Okay, let's see. We have lots of B's and D's here. Yeah, so somewhat involved, and some parents, yeah, you don't know what their kids are up to, right, on AI. All right, not to worry. We will bring up some of the areas that as parents we will need to pay attention to so that we can help our kids use AI wisely. So let's go to the next question. Samuel, what are your thoughts about the rise of AI companions and emotionally responsive technology, which I think you mentioned earlier is most of what our kids are kind of using right now?
Yeah. So a couple of years back, I remember my daughter, I think when she was like 3 or 4 years old, she was actually having a conversation with Siri, right? She'll take up the phone and then she'll ask, "Hi Siri, tell me a story. Hi
Yep.
Siri, tell me a joke." Those things seems harmless at first, until one day I overheard her saying, "Hi Siri, will you be my friend?"
Mm.
Because, and I mean, that was a danger point for me. And I said, hey, auto correction has to come into play. Say, hey, it's a computer system and all these things. So that is Siri without AI. So imagine what this has been. I think that was many, many years ago, and things have evolved a lot since then. I think when it comes to AI companions, so for those who are not familiar with it, AI companions are basically where people form an attachment with AI and treat them as friends or even girlfriend, boyfriend, and so forth. Because the more you talk to it, the more it learns about you, the more it, as what Cheng Yi mentioned, it also reinforces you. And sort of when you say, I'm not sure if you remember ChatGPT back in maybe 2 years ago, every time you ask something, they always reply, "Wow, you're a genius, you're the best, you're so smart." That's how it is. So it is very easily to fall into that trap of treating AI as a companion. I mean, there's also a report by Harvard Business Review where it was published how people are really using Gen AI. So the report itself started in 2024 and 2025 and 2026. It continued. So the 2026 one was just released, and it's quite alarming. So because in 2025 itself, the number one use case of generative AI in the world of people who are using Gen AI is for companionship and therapy. All right, that was 2025 number one. Really, 2026 that remained number one. But what staggering stats that caught me by surprise is in 2025, 5% of the cases were because of companionship and therapy, but the 5% jumped to 11% in 2026. What that means is basically people are even more going to AI tools, right? Basically for support, for advice, but more importantly, as a companionship, right? And we've just heard stories about people marrying ChatGPT in Japan and people turning DeepSeek into their girlfriend, boyfriends in China and all, which is very sad. But I think the danger also is there is also a rise of what I would call actual AI companionship focus apps out there where they are specifically engineered to drive engagement. So these are what they call companion bots. I won't name it out here for safety's sake, but they are within the top 20 Gen AI apps in the world. All right. So people are actually using it. Millions of people are using it, and these bots basically have been built for deep engagement. So they are programmed specifically to endlessly be available to you, perfectly agreeable, constantly validating you and all. So the more you engage with it, the more you feel attached to it. And I've also heard stories where people are starting to name these characters as well, right? Instead of, it's really quite scary at best, lah, right? So I think for parents, the warning is be aware, because one of the stats also shows that young kids are already on these platforms. Kids are already using AI for such as this. And the other fact is most parents are not aware that their children are using AI for use cases like this, lah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's sobering. And I think, yeah, a bot that's always available, always agreeable, and specifically designed to bond with your child, I think it's easy to see why it's very appealing for our children, who maybe are struggling with loneliness, right? So, Cheng Yi, some children find AI chatbots easier to talk to than people because of what Samuel has shared. What should parents make of that?
Yeah, I think it is stemming from this deep human need, isn't it, to be loved, to connect, to feel special and valued. And I think I agree with Samuel that a lot of people are turning to AI for companionship and also mental health. And I want to say also one of the reasons is there's not enough mental health professionals worldwide, and so we know that there's a mental health crisis. And I see it my own clients. They tell me they would talk to a chatbot in between sessions because they just can't wait to the next session to see me to ask for their advice. So to a certain extent, if there is this usage, I think some intelligence, albeit artificial, is better than no intelligence, and someone to talk to is better than no one. It can I have to say that temporary, provide some comfort and some relief lah in situations where you can't reach out for help. But I think the deeper question is, we need to ask ourselves, like, why are people or children we're talking about, feeling safer talking to chatbots? I think it's driven by these human factors, right? That the AI is something that has been created to allow for, the three A's: the anonymity, affordability, and accessibility. So I think when as parents we should also ask, how are we available to our children in those ways? I mean, when we talk about anonymity, that is about emotional safety, right? We do find it difficult to talk to people if they don't understand us, which is why AI is so reassuring and something that is very soothing, right? Yeah, so to be able to share secrets, deep dark thoughts with the AI confidently without anybody knowing, judging us, is probably something that we all seek, deep down, right? Not to be judged. So the emotional safety factor, maybe, as advice here for parents is, can we create that emotional safety so that our children will want to come and talk to us, so we don't laugh at them? Haha, you like that boy, that kind of thing, or you belittle them, or maybe we overreact when they come to us. And on the factor of affordability, can we afford the time? Some of us work, AI replaces us. Our work time is also precious, right? How do we carve out that time, or how do we actually seize moments where, there's a shared moment in the car or during meal times, and our accessibility? So how do we create visibility when we are at home with them? Do we close our doors? What is our posture? Do we always be thinking about our work? Children sense all these things when they come to us. Yeah, so I think if you see your children spending more time with bots, I think it's a red flag that you really need to pay attention. Why are they more interested in robots than human interactions? Have they had bad experiences? Are they disengaging from the real world? They cannot make friends? Are they being bullied? Are they unhappy at school? Yeah. So I think it's a red flag that we should pay attention to.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think the real challenge that you're putting to us here isn't about AI at all, but it's about us parents being present and available and a safe place for our kids. I like how you compare, yeah, the chatbots. If we want to be like the chatbots, right? We want our kids to come to us. So how can we be available to them? How can we be accessible to them? How can we be that safe space? I think that's great. So Samuel, I want to bring you in on a different angle. Um, I recently had a disagreement with my husband on whether to use AI audio summaries to help my child who struggles with reading. So one of us felt it would help her, and the other felt that if she forever relied on it, she'll never improve on her reading, right? I won't say who said what so that we're not biased. But on that note, in what ways can AI expand creativity and learning, and how might it weaken imagination or critical thinking on the other end?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question because I get it a lot as I work with schools, with universities, and all, especially when they are trying to navigate this whole AI world. So the way I look at it is, if you're using AI like a coach, it will actually expand your thinking. I mean, things like using AI to brainstorm with you. I mean, you already have very clear intention of what you want to do, but then when you work with AI, it becomes sort of like a partner that you're sparring with, right? Brainstorming, getting feedback, learning how to solve a problem together, and all this kind of things. Then I think that is where it sort of expands, right? Versus fully relying on it lah. But if you treat it like a substitute, right? Coach versus substitute, this is where it shrinks your thinking, as what Cheng Yi mentioned earlier as well. And I think it's very different for adult and children, because adult us coming in, we have already sort of learned it the hard way. We've, like what Cheng Yi said, we've learned how to write, we've learned how to do the tough stuff and all. So whenever we are using AI, we are sort of like outsourcing it to make our job easier. But it doesn't mean that we haven't lost a skill. If suddenly we have to write again, or let's say manage a schedule, doing research, or writing emails, all these things, we have done it before. We've learned it. Now AI comes in, it helps us to make us more efficient and more effective in that way. But for a child, it's very different, because if they haven't gone through the hard stuff, they haven't learned how to I don't know, like my son, right? He hasn't learned how to write codes, but then suddenly AI is writing the code for him and all. He loses that critical thinkingness lah. Because children, if they use it as a substitute instead of a sparring partner and all, it sort of like bypass the task, right? So by skipping this productive struggle, their brains will never learn how to build that critical skill as well. And maybe let me just share a quick stat lah. So this one, I've also shared this with the parents in the school that my kids go to. So we're having a discussion on this, and I brought up this research where, and I'm just going to read it over here because I tend to forget actual research. So there was a research done recently where the report shows that historically, since the 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents in cognitive development, except this generation. So in other words, what that means is that our children are less cognitively developed than us at the same age. Which experts, based on the research itself, points to over-reliance on digital and tech to learn. And this is not specifically on AI. I mean, this is when we start introducing things like, especially during MCO, you would notice, right? The laptops they have, iPads they have, if it's easy to learn through a video and all, they learn it through that and all. But what that is happening is it's not helping them to struggle, right? That causes that decline. Now, where AI comes in is AI is accelerating that even more.
Yep.
I don't know what it's going to look like in the next few years, but it's also something that we need to be aware of.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like my child should continue reading and not rely on AI audio summaries. All right. So obviously there are genuine benefits, but also real costs to our children if they rely on it too early, right? And too heavily before they develop those important skills that they need. So Cheng Yi, if children begin to turn to AI first for answers, ideas, or comfort, uh, as a psychologist, what developmental skills might they miss out on building?
So there's quite a lot. I think I'll just mention maybe 5 different areas. I think our first of all to say that our brain is really user dependent. So what it means that if you use it, then you will grow it. So if you don't use it, you will grow it. So reading also is all part parcel of using and practicing. So I think first of all, reciprocal social interaction. So what that means is that it's a two-way. Interactions are always two-way, so it's reciprocal. There's a song that we teach our children from a social thinking curriculum. It's not about you, not about me, but it's about we, right? So the world revolves around us. So important skills to navigate the world, make friends, and develop good mental health. Kids who can't make friends often end up feeling lonely, anxious, and depressed. So the first one, reciprocal social interactions. I think they need a sense of self-identity, which they risk not building because if you don't, challenge yourself to do things, to explore, to try out things, sense of self-identity comes from your knowing yourself, right? And it doesn't happen in a vacuum,
Yes.
not with a chatbot. It comes from going around, getting perspective, spending time with people, from exploration. Yeah. Attention, focus, and concentration. So that's the third point. And Samuel has mentioned about how the cognitive decline. There's also a decline in attentional span, and we definitely see a lot more kids being referred for assessment of ADHD. Part parcel of that is really awareness, but I think it has got to do with our lifestyles and what we are turning to in our free time. So having attention, focus, and concentration involves inhibition, like trying to not give in to your impulses. Spending time with AI, doing things shortcuts, is really like sometimes giving into our impulses, right? When you've got a hard way or an easy way, you always take the easy way out. But to resist that, helps build character. So spending more time real life rather than AI. The fourth thing is creativity and imagination. I think in the olden days, we are forced to find ways to get through our problems. We don't have, artificial intelligence, so we have to learn by asking our friends. We have to try and create solutions through trial and error. We get there from trial and error. So in the process, we make a lot of discovery through process of elimination and all that, right? So we are no shortcuts. The last one to mention is, of course, your emotional awareness, things like empathy. We say that AI is a machine, so how we truly learn emotional awareness cannot be coming from it lah. Emotional awareness and empathies involve our insights and putting ourselves in the shoes of another person. It's like a book is the AI is like a book, right? They can describe what a character may be feeling, but they cannot experience it. So, like human beings, we can experience different shades of emotions, deep, complex, simultaneous, and sometimes there are no words to describe how we feel, and how large that language model is. You can't describe something that is indescribable. You have to be there. I think about sitting with somebody who is in a lot of pain, and they cry and you're moved to tears because you yourself are in the presence of that person. or just listening to that tone of voice. And AI is not able to create that moment in the same way because they don't have the capacity to feel at all, not able to share your experiences.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we learn, and those 5 things that I mentioned, really comes from seeing, touching, feeling, experiencing, internalizing it, right, through lots of experiences, so that you can truly say that you know it, you have knowledge of it. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think if children are missing out, spending time with people, those things I've mentioned are all human traits:
Mm.
patience, kindness, empathy, creativity. And you have to spend time with other humans to get it. Yeah.
Yes, so true. Yeah, and I think what I'm hearing is that our goal is not to sort of raise children who are good at using AI, but we want to raise children who are resilient, who have character, curious, connected, right, to each other. And then we teach them how to use AI well, right? So I think everything we've heard so far raises an important question. When are our kids ready for AI? So, Samuel, is the question about age or is it about readiness? Like, what signs should parents look for before introducing AI tools to their children?
Okay. Yeah. Uh, Straight to the question, the answer itself. Age is a weak filter.
Mm,
The question actually the parents should be asking themselves is if their child can distinguish between a tool or a person. Is ChatGPT a tool or is it a person? When your child is interacting with it, the outputs that's coming from the AI itself, is it a draft or is it the truth? When they're using the tool itself, is it for convenience or is it for dependence, right? So I think these are things that the parents should be asking now. I also, as I was thinking about this question earlier as well, right? I sort of like came up with a quick checklist lah. I'm thinking it's going to be put up here, but these are basically 5 questions that the the parent, your parent, I mean, as yourself, you should be asking your child. All right. So I'll just put up first. The first question would be, can my child explain in their own words that the AI is a software, not a person with real feelings, right? If they are unable to distinguish that, then maybe they are not ready yet.
mm,
All right, that's the first one. Second one is, do they treat the first answer as a draft to verify, not a verdict? That means it's not the final truth. Then similarly, if they are just copy pasting and thinking that it's the right thing, then perhaps they are not ready yet for it, right? The third one is, can they show me how they'll cross-check an answer? That means once you get the output from the AI, it comes up with an answer for you. Are they able to cross-check the answer with a second source or a trusted adult? So one thing at my kids' school, one thing that they instill in all the kids, if they come across something that they do not know, the first thing that they need to be looking at is what they call this 3B 4G. 3B basically check with a book, right? They actually have books, encyclopedia, whatsoever it is, check from the book itself, what is real, is it really true, is it really not true or not? I mean, that's where you first go for an answer. If you can't, no, actually it's not book first, actually it's brain first. Think for yourself first, right? Before you check with the book. So the first one is brain, think for yourself first, what could the answer be? Then second one would be book, check with the book. The third one is buddy, check with the buddy, the peer itself. Whether if you do not know, check with them whether they know or not. And then only after those 3 are done, then only you check with a guide or a teacher or an adult or a guardian.
mm.
All right. So that at least with my kids, I'm sort of reassured that this has been instilled in them lah. So I mean, that's the third one. The fourth one is, do they know what should never be typed into a chatbot, right? Location, secret photos, etc. Right? Because some chatbots, if it's not configured properly, it will be trained on the information that you're providing. So that's basically privacy risk and so forth, right? So if they are not aware of that as well, then perhaps they're not ready yet. And the last one, will they stop and come to an adult if a chat turns emotional, secretive, or inappropriate? right? And this is not just those companion chatbots that we're saying. Even the general AI tool itself can perhaps turn into this, even whether you want to or not, right? Even though whatever guardrails are in place as well. Will they know how to stop and come to an adult when things turn out this way? So these are just 5 quick checklists that I put out. Very broad, but I think this is a good starting point, whether to see whether your child is ready to use AI on their own or not. Otherwise, it's always good to then be a co-learner together with them.
Yeah, I love that checklist. It gives us something very concrete to work with rather than just going by age or guesswork. And I think what it really tells us is that readiness isn't just about tech savviness, but it's about whether they have wisdom and whether they are self aware, right? So once a child is ready, Cheng Yi, from where you sit, what would a healthy AI use look like at home in the day to day?
Well, AI should be just one of the tools that children are learning from or accessing. And parents should be really their number one source, right, of parental guidance and where their knowledge, wisdom, and teaching discernment come from, because the parents are the one with the experience in life. And I think how we can use it is, I mean, parents, we ourselves, as we have seen the poll earlier, we use it. I use it for work and other things. And I think when we are with our children, it's okay for us to do it with them and tell them, oh, actually, when they ask us the questions, I don't know this answer, and maybe that's when we can show them how we use the AI to find answers. But bottom line, AI should be a parenting aid for home, for school, and generally for problem solving. It shouldn't be serving us lah. I should be serving us. Sorry, should be serving us and not mastering us or shaping who we really are at our core. Yeah. So children should be doing a variety of things and not just spending time on screens and using AI.
Yep. Okay. Thanks. And I think what I'm hearing too is that parents don't have to have all the answers. We just have to kind of stay present, curious, and keep the conversation open with our children. And I think that's something every parent can do. So, Samuel, for parents who are still feeling overwhelmed by AI technology, even as they are listening to us, what encouragement would you give them tonight as someone who is an AI trainer and I would say AI expert?
First one, you're not alone. I myself also am overwhelmed sometimes on this thing that's going on. But I think the encouragement I can give is that you don't need to be a tech person to understand this space. You don't need to be a software engineer, computer scientist, or even an IT person to understand this. The good thing about AI is right now, both adults, parents, and your child are learning at the same time. It's because it is coming at the same time. So as your child learns it, you are also learning it at the same time. As you're learning it, that your child also is exposed to probably the same thing. So the biggest mindset shift that we need to have, because in the past, how parents have been parenting has been, hey, I know what is good for you, listen to me kind of thing, at least in the Asian culture kind of thing, right? But so I mentioned just now something about co-learning. And I think for AI, that is the, I guess, cap that we need to wear as both as parents and child co-learn this technology together. So the parents you have to be curious. You have to learn about it, be open to learn about AI, understand what's the good, what's the bad, and do it together with your child. Because as you learn about it, let your child also learn together with you. So for example, one simple way would be, hey, just open up ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, whatever it is, put in a question, right? Something maybe complex and all, and let the AI come up with an answer, and you together with your child go through the answers and see if you are able to spot what's true, what's not. Ask them itself, hey, do you think it's true? What if it's not? And then what else? So learn it together as you do. Yeah, I mean, that would be one big thing. I think it's that's one. The second one is the values that you teach at home will be important, right? The parents need to establish the right values at home. I think one thing that we need to know is AI amplifies our intention. So if we learn bad stuff at home, AI will amplify that behavior. We learn good stuff at home, then the good stuff gets amplified as well through AI lah. I mean, take for example, when my child were really young and we were going through the whole sex education talk and all those things, we learn about the good picture, bad picture, and all these things, right? Identifying what's good picture, and when you come across bad picture, what do you do about it, that kind of thing. So, I mean, these are values at home that needs to be taught, and AI would just be an amplifier of the values that you have at home, right? So, yeah, that would be the second one.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, it's reassuring to hear that, yeah, we parents, we always have a role to play. Yeah, the question is, what kind of role are we playing? So, Cheng Yi, I'll give you the last question in this section. In a world where AI is getting smarter and smarter, what kind of parent does a child need?
Agree with Samuel. Please be AI literate, so learn along with your children. I think you need to also know your child. So, because I work around a lot of neurodiverse children, it means that they are wired up differently, and I think we all are wired up differently. I think we need to know what works for our children. Some children need much more hands-on, going out to play. And some get very easily hooked onto the AI or screen. So we need to know our children so that we can then decide whether what we do is good for them and not compare them with other people, even compare them among siblings. We need to be really emotionally resilient as parents. So I think as parents, we are generally quite anxious, and our anxiety pass on to our children. We can be a bit FOMO. So, now we're talking about AI also, we feel that our children are missing out on certain cutting edge technology, and instinctively maybe want to, make sure that they don't miss out, they get something. Why is it that their school use this and other school don't use it, those kind of things. We do get very worked up over this sometimes. So I think our children see that and we model that worry to them. So the other thing about emotionally resilient is, I think there's a lot of uncertainty in this world, and as even if we talk about AI taking over our children's jobs, we too get very worried. Or do we send them to university, or do we get them do coding courses or whatever, or don't do coding courses? I think when we behave like that, it also rubs off on our children. So I think the good old traditional things that we know about parenting, like kids needing time to play, letting them have some stress in life, it won't harm them if they fall. I think those things are still very relevant in today's AI world. So I think being that resilient parents means that we also remember what those good values are we want for our children and our families, and we are not afraid to stand by it. One final thing I want to say is we need to be open to collaboration. We children grow up as part of a large ecological system of people that influence their development. So we should see ourselves only as one of those social influences. They need significant others like their grandparents, older folks' peers, and the teachers, professionals that come alongside. So we need to be open for opportunities for them to engage with the world, creating opportunities, because I see families who stay isolated, they remain isolated, and when trouble comes, nobody knows. So that will impact on our children, the way we do life. So we need to model that social and that openness and that collaborative approach to, yeah.
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 Thank you. Yeah, it's true that, I mean, we always say, right, it takes a whole village to raise a child. So I think it's important that as parents that we also kind of involve other people in our lives. And I think our kids kind of see it, right? If our home is only always just us and there's nobody else, then we're not teaching them how to also relate to others. Yeah. So I think after all that sharing, I think we know that we don't have to fear AI. I think AI will never replace us as parents. It's a tool that we use. And I think for us, I think many parents here tonight, you're here, you showed up, you want to know more about AI. And I think there's so much more that we can unpack. But I think now we're going to move on to questions. And I think that should take us even deeper. If you have a question, I see some questions already being posted in the chat. But if you have other questions, feel free to type it into the chat and we will address them soon. So while you are penning down your questions, let me take a few moments to share a few important resources to you. And first up, I'm excited to share our upcoming parent-child bonding events designed to create intentional spaces for meaningful conversations and deeper connections with your child. So this July, as you can see, we have our special dad and daughter date night. So that's while your teenage daughter might not say it, she still needs you, perhaps more now than ever. So we hope that you will sign up. Moms, we have one for you too. Join us at our Mom and Son Connection for a fun and interactive afternoon where moms and sons can laugh, play, and build a bond that lasts. So seats are limited at our bonding program. So click on the link and don't miss out. You will find the links on the chat. Next up, we have a website resource for you, a guide. So if you found today's session to be helpful, you can go to this website and there's a downloadable that you can download, and you can also watch the replay anytime on YouTube. And please do share it with other parents if you found this helpful. We've also prepared a store-wide 10% discount just for you. So do check out our online bookstore after this. We've got great resources for the whole family. And lastly, if you find value in today's content and what we are doing at Focus on the Family, please join our WhatsApp channel and you will receive updates on our latest events, our resources, and also some family tips. So you can scan the QR code there and join us on our WhatsApp. All right, so let's bring our speakers back on screen as we move into the Q&A session. Thank you everyone for sending in your questions. If we can have the first question up on screen. All right, from Christopher. What is the long-term effects of cognitive offloading? I believe this is a question for Cheng Yi, I think.
Can. I think Sam can chip in as well, right?
Yes.
I think it was mentioned a little bit earlier how, in fact, it was Samuel who initially said about how when there's a cognitive decline, and I think maybe that's where I can start. But why do we cognitively offload? And maybe we can define that a little bit. Cognitive it means that mentally you want a break, or you want to I guess do things, simplify things so that give your brain a break. So cognitive offloading could be trying to not remember somebody's phone number by saving it in that phone, for example, right? So I think we do it every day. For different things. I mean, I set alarms to tell me about certain things because I don't want it to be at the back of my mind reminding me that I have to go and turn off the oven or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that helps the cognitive offload so I can actually focus on doing something. Yeah, so I think cognitive offloading is something that we naturally already do. It's not necessarily harmful to us if we use it, use those AI tools for those purposes of that I have mentioned. But of course, I think if children are very young and they're continuously offloading, that means they are using AI to replace their thinking, which I said earlier, our brain is user dependent, so we have to train our brain to think. Then I think it will be harmful for them for the long run, because if they haven't learned it, they won't know how to do it.
Yep. Okay. As moms, I think we do this a lot. Samuel, have anything to add to that?
I mean, the brain is a muscle that requires, things like stress, things like grit. That's where all these things come into play. You have to actually work it for it to work, right? Hence, if you the moment you start using it less and less, which is why people always say, right, as you grow old and all, after you finish retirement, after retirement, don't just watch TV and all. Use your brain, keep it active, right?
Yeah.
Socialize, go talk to people, work things, volunteer, and all these. All these things helps to keep your brain active as well. So it's the very same for children as well, right? Even more harmful if they haven't even work it and they already start to offload it,
Offload.
right?
Yeah.
So stress is good, I would say, but
A little bit of stress.
yes, a little bit of stress is good
Yes.
to stretch it. Hence, growth mindsets, etc.,
Mm.
are important future skills to have.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we have the next question from our audience, KT. As a psychologist, could you recommend a positive intervention parents can use with our child's AI usage as a primary kid and teen?
I don't know a lot of AI tools, I suppose, I have to admit. Oh, sorry, this is not about AI, AI tool.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
I think
sure.
the question, if I can interpret it, what can we do to replace maybe a child's AI usage? I'm not sure.
Or a way to intervene
Intervene.
positively, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Positive interventions. I think your time, replacing the tool with interacting with them or having other physical activities would be, I think, a kind of intervention to replace AI or to wean them off AI. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm answering this question the
Yeah.
way this query
Mm,
is intended.
yeah. I think definitely sometimes our kids are on their devices or AI because they're bored, right?
Yeah.
So we parents, we really have to find ways that we can do something with them so that they're not so overly dependent. Samuel, you want to add
Yeah,
on
I
to that?
wanted to just add it. I mean, Norway this week just banned AI from being used in schools because they saw all these
Wow.
things which are happening already. So they are the first of all countries that has actually put a specific ban of AI at schools. I mean, that's the most extreme way. But I mean, after school, in their own free time, doing their homework, I mean, it's very hard to control, right?
Yes.
So I would say, and this is really just coming from my point of view as a parent as well. If I were to go in and say, hey, stop using it and go back to the old way, they won't be able to. It's very difficult. But doing that with kindness and explanation on why it's important to, like, sometimes I would get my kids, right? Hey, stop reading from Kindle, but read from an actual book. It's a very different experience. And then the more they read from the book, they realize that, hey, I'm more, it's a more immersive experience compared to reading from a Kindle. I mean, this is just simple switches and let them experience it themselves.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
Cheng Yi
Really.
wanted to add on something.
Yeah, I on that note, you just reminded me about another research that came out that says that the visual cues from reading an actual book helps recall. So compared to using a screen and a screen reading, right, like Kindle, having a physical book because of certain visual cues like the corners, the way that the paragraph is oriented and stuff like that. Yeah. So actually telling us that our traditional way of learning is actually pretty good. So I think some parents, another, I suppose, positive intervention here is not to be afraid to introduce the things that you enjoyed or the things that worked for you. Children always, I guess, they protest whenever we introduce something new when they're unfamiliar. When it's unfamiliar, it's not something that is cool. So sometimes we have to put up with those, I guess, grumbles,
Complaints.
yeah, complaints, and take the complaints as something all children will do. So I guess when we let it get to us emotionally, I think that's when we kind of give in to it, or feel also start to have power struggles, and yeah. So I think it's not easy. Maybe just to add one last thing is, it's not easy when we are fighting the battle on our own. So lobbying for other people to come into the picture, like even if the schools are not banning AI, not banning screen, allowing them to bring phone to schools, or when they have friend groups, people coming for play dates come to the house and they all bring their phones or whatever. I think it's okay to also try and get other people to be on your side and say, oh, by the way, could we not have this, because if my child can't, if my child is the only one who can't do it,
Yeah.
then it's like very difficult. They'll succumb to peer pressure. It will not work. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Time to bring out those encyclopedias. Do your own research,
yeah.
All right. So next question. Okay, from Tehanji. When you mentioned be AI literate, where is a good place to start? I think this is for Samuel.
Well, okay. I mean, firstly, there are a lot of resources out there. I mean, it's articles written, even on TikTok itself, there are really good parenting. I mean, you just search on TikTok itself, parenting and AI, right? There are a lot of good materials out there as well. And they go into details, because some of these videos itself are coming from a technical point of view, but at the same time, they also explain what are pros and cons, and how does it impact humans and psychology and all those things. So I would say there are a lot of resources out there, but I think firstly, as parent also, being the judge of whether this is truth or fact checked it as well. Right. But as what Suli shared earlier as well in the announcements, I mean, even from Focus itself, there are really good resources that are available right now that you can start with.
Yes. Thanks for the focus plug there. Okay. All right. Next question. Thank you, Pauline. Okay, my 15-year-old relies heavily on online information, dismisses family input, and is becoming emotionally withdrawn. How can we help him re engage and develop a healthier emotional perspective? All right, Cheng Yi, this one's for you.
15-year-olds are difficult. Okay, that's a mid-teen. Even teenagers, you can divide them right into early teens, middle teens, and late teens. And I personally have to say, from raising 3 girls who's past this age, that actually that is a difficult age. So for parents who have not reached this stage yet, I mean, spend a lot of time and develop the bond with them, so trust can be built when you come to that. Somehow, at this age, the peers is an important part of their lives, and parents are not cool. Yeah, they don't want to be like us for some reason. So I think there is a bit of hanging in there, kind of, to not give up on your child, because and see it more like from the perspective of a phase that they are going through, but continue to show that openness for them to come, and not nag them, because I mean, whenever you push them, the harder you push, the harder they might resist lah. Yeah. Find small little avenues. Sometimes when we see the problems head on, we don't really see that actually there are little things. So look for what are some baselines, like good things, the good things that your child is really doing. Like, are they doing homework? At least, are they going to school? Are they happy to go to school? Do they come down for dinner? Yeah. So choose one of these, or and build on that. So if they come down for dinner, make dinner time more inviting. Don't nag them and say, hey, I told you to stop already. You haven't stopped. When they come down for dinner, just be pleasant, and have that seize that moment. Yeah. And if they don't mind going to school and they're happy to go to school, give thanks for that too. and see how you can get more involved with the schooling, or what topics they're learning at school, or even engage with what they are doing online, what music they're listening to. I think those look out for those small things lah. Yeah, I'm sure there are things that you can find.
Mm. All right. Thank you, Cheng Yi. Next question. Okay, from AY. What skills do you think children will need most in an AI driven future? I think both of you can tackle this. So maybe Samuel first.
Okay. Um, Maybe I can mention three. So one I mentioned earlier, growth mindset. It's one because that's the mindset to overcome challenges. I mean, the pace of how AI is evolving is far faster than what we can even comprehend. So they will be coming up with a lot of challenges in the future. I mean, when you go through university, by the time they graduate, the job may not exist at all, right? So job displacement is real. So the growth mindset is essential in terms of how then, if I come across any challenges along the way, along my path and all, how do I overcome it? So that's the number one, I would say, to be on the list. The second one is social skills. Despite us living in a whole digital world, social skills still is important. How do we build and maintain relationships? Right? Ultimately, that's human. So that is still important regardless what kind of future holds in the future, right? The third one I can think of is agency slash entrepreneurship, right? And it's not just about like starting businesses and all these things. It's really more of the ability to see opportunities and to create something around them, right? Because
Right.
I really cannot tell how this future is going to look like in the next few years and all. But if I have at least these three: growth mindset, social skills, and the agency slash entrepreneurship, I think I will do okay.
All right. And I believe that's something that you're training your kids to do. I've heard, yeah, the entrepreneurship skills,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial skills. Yeah, that's good. Cheng Yi, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Summer has mentioned a lot already, so I won't mention again. But I think the good old soft skills, that allows us to successfully get through the day without breaking down, without, cracking up. Simple things like even time management, are things that are very important. Um, I like to say, uh, what, things like being able to do things for yourself, like cooking and repair. Can you change a light bulb? I mean, AI can't do it for you. You may be able to get a recipe generated for you if you throw in a few ingredients that you have at the back of your fridge. But AI can't cook it for you. AI can't change the gas tank for you. So I think those simple things, yeah, it's still life skills
Yeah.
that we all must have, yeah, to survival.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's so good. So growth mindset, social skills, entrepreneurship, and practical life skills and soft
yeah.
skills. Yeah, that's
Mm.
so helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, so one more last question, and then we'll be ending our Q&A. Um, how to educate kids to differentiate between real world and virtual online games that contain violence, where the characters are able to revive in the game, but in real life, I don't know what WOLO stands for. I'm sorry. Please explain. We only live once. Yes, thank you. All right, so maybe Samuel, you want to tackle this one?
Yeah. This is a very difficult thing to do because the longer you spend time in a virtual environment, the more immersive you become and you become part of that world itself. Like, it becomes very hard to tell what is real and not if your mind is in that environment. So the only way you can do it is they need to spend time away from that environment as well, which is going to be very difficult. I mean, my kid spends quite a bit of his time on Minecraft and Roblox in the past, I've stopped it because that one was really something that a lot of bad stuff happened. Okay, but being intentional of saying that there is more to life than just what is online itself, lah.
Mm,
Because a
yeah.
lot of things that happens online doesn't happen in the real world. So it requires a lot of wisdom from the parents to be able to um, convincingly share the truth with them, right?
Mm, yep.
Which is why I thought it was a very bad move when like companies started introducing Meta, uh, what they call AR glasses to meet with people from around the world and have joint meetings and all these things. Because the more you live in a virtual world, you lose sense of actual
Reality.
reality. Which is why I say like things like social skills, etc., is still important because that is what makes us human.
Yeah, that's so true. Thanks. Cheng Yi, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think the good old idiom, garbage in, garbage out, right? What we fill our minds, kind of shape what we are, how we
Mm,
behave. Yeah. So if we spend more time sowing values and spending time helping our children feel loved and valued, then they would also emulate the same, and treat the world and other people the same. Yeah.
mm, yep. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your questions. I think it reflects how much you care about your children, and I think that in itself is very important. So I sorry that we can't answer everybody's questions, but I hope everyone has taken away a bit, one or two things, yeah, to put into practice or something to help you. So before we bid farewell to our speakers, I would like Cheng Yi and Samuel to share a few more last words, just under 1 minute each, if you can. Samuel, I think you addressed this a little bit earlier. If you could leave every parent in this room one mindset shift about AI, yeah, not a rule, not an app, what would it be?
Yeah. Uh, so the fact is AI is going to be here. It's going to be in the next few years. It's almost like how right now we can't imagine doing work, operating our lives without going online, right? In the next few years, we won't be able to imagine the world without us using AI for the things that we do. It's going to permeate every single thing that we do.
Mm,
So as parents, as what I shared earlier, be a co-learner together with them because both your child and you are learning at the same time. All right.
mm,
This is a big mindset shift that parents need to have instead of becoming like a digital supervisor. Be a co-learner together with them, right? Learn at the same time, and I think your child will appreciate that as well.
mm. Yes. Yeah, I think that's one of the few areas that we know as much as our children, if not maybe less, and we really need to learn together. And hopefully, we can be a little bit like one step ahead of them.
Yeah.
All right, Cheng Yi, last question. In everything you've seen working with children and families, what is the one thing AI will never be able to give a child? And how do you make sure that parents keep giving it? How? Yeah.
I'm going to say teach them how to think. I think if you can think for yourself, it solves a multitude of problems. And as a psychologist, I deal a lot with flawed thinking, when people who have black and white thinking, cognitive biases, catastrophizing.
Mm,
So I think when we know how to think, we know how to manage our feelings, we know how to manage other people, and we can also know how to behave.
yeah.
So I wanted to end with this think, what think means. And sometimes I use it with the young people that I work with. Thinking means asking yourself before you act, is it true? Is what I'm saying is true? Is it truth? Is it true? That's T. H. Is it helpful? I. Is it inspiring? N. Is it necessary? And K. Is it kind?
Mm, yeah. I think that's beautiful. Yeah. Think. I think honestly, that one applies just as much to us parents as it does to our children. So we'll leave that in the comments as well. Think true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. Cheng Yi and Samuel, I appreciate you both so much for taking your time to share your experience and expertise on this topic. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, I will close us off. Um, Tonight we've heard that AI is neither a savior nor a threat in itself. It's a tool. And as parents, our roles remain irreplaceable. AI may become more and more powerful over time, but our children will still need our guidance, our presence, and our love. And the goal is not simply to raise children who can use AI, but children who can think critically, build healthy relationships, and make wise choices in an AI shaped world. And that is what smart parenting in an AI world looks like. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Focus on the Family is a nonprofit organization, and everything we do is made possible by generous support of donors like you. So, if today's session meant something to you, consider supporting our work so that we can keep on reaching more families. Thank you and have a good night.